funny man. What? Hey. Make some noise. Ladies and gentlemen, from LA to New York, Chicago to Mississippi, let's give it up for America's #1 funny man, Rodney.
What up, party people? It's your boy Rodney Perry. This is gonna be a show to shut down all shows. I reached out to some comedy brain trust, and I want to talk comedy today, man. I want to talk about everything from joke thievery to how do you establish your price. I want to talk about the game, the industry that we know and love, and how about this? How about I need my ladies to chime in. I reached out to a couple of my female counterparts. I didn't want to not include them. It's just guys don't got to get ready. You know, you can hit a nigga up and motherfucker, excuse my use of the N-word. We can even talk about that. But you can hit a guy up and he ain't got to do makeup or hair, nothing, to put his lace front on. He just be ready to rock and roll. No disrespect to my female counterparts, though. Man love, man respect. I did put the link in the chat for any of the ladies. Good morning, Victor Marshall. Good morning, Andromeda. I see you as well. Man, I reached out to some of my favorite humans, first of all, regardless of comedy or not. I'm in Chicago. I make it my business to come down to his establishment. He is not only a comedian, he's an entrepreneur and a business owner. Welcome to the show, Mr. Marlon Mitchell. What's up, Marlon?
Good morning, Rodney. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. Thank you for coming on, bro. You know,
thanks for having me, my brother.
Chicago comedy, your presence is known without people knowing they know. You know, it's cats that didn't went on to fame and fortune that maybe didn't acknowledge your influence on their careers. And I will, you know, because you influenced me, for God's sake. Shouts out to Trina Pinkert. We're gonna talk comedy today, Marlon. Rock with me. And my man, we talk comedy all the time. We good for 3 a.m., you know, chat. Ladies and gentlemen, from Philadelphia, Scooter Wilkerson. Scooter. Only a comedian, but a hooper. We'll drop that finger roll in your face.
Man, that's a fat finger roll now.
Hey, man, we was all skinnier at one point. And ladies and gentlemen, I think I ended up doing this gig last night. I get a call, and you text me, Marvin. 5 minutes later, I get a call, say, "Yo, Marvin Hunter, he can't make it. Can you come?" I was like, you know what? I'm sitting here with my wife, and we could use a couple, you know, stacks and stacks, you know. So I end up doing Atlanta Comedy Theater. Marvin Hunter, you in?
Yes, sir. What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
Hey, if you can't turn your camera sideways so we can get you all the way in the screen, Marvin Hunter. If y'all don't know each other, Marvin, me, Marlon, me, Scooter, and we move on.
What up, fellas?
And my other guys, man.
Good morning.
Yeah, one of my other guys. We're all comedians. We're all in the fraternity. And one of my other guys out of New York City, man. I've had the pleasure of staying at his home, and he has stayed at mine. Welcome to the show, Mr. JP Justice. JP.
Hey, Rodney, there was like 6 silverware. Did you see these silverware that was in my kitchen? No, fuck.
You're a fool. You're a fool. Hey, let's jump right into this, man. It's a lot of I really wanted to have this conversation, and I trust you guys to rock with me. Let me ask you this, and Dugar is in the chat. Hey, said I'll be in Chicago this weekend. First of all, I'm working on a movie Saturday and Sunday, and on Friday I will be at Riddles. I'll be at Riddles on Friday night. You know, how about this, guys? And this used to be true back in the day. Cruise ships were the death of a comedian. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you would hear about a guy get on a cruise ship, and it was the end of his career. Is that still true, Marvin Hunter?
No, not at all. Cruise ships ain't my thing, but I know a bunch of people that's doing very well.
Yes, it's great money, you know, and guys are out there on the high seas killing them, and they're creating a fan base, man. Marlon Mitchell, man, this is a new day and age. Or is it the same? Is cruise ship still death for your career?
As far as I know, they're pretty good. I know 2 comics. I know they getting their rent money on the cruise ship.
They getting it.
Frank Townsend and Mark Simmons.
Yes, and you know Mark Simmons a fool.
Yeah.
And so I know if Mark out there getting paper, it's paper to be got.
Yeah, him and Frank Townsend, because you know they appeal to all audiences.
Yeah, I mean, but does it make you kind of whitewash, like when you got to do that set, you know, that everybody kind of get?
I mean, you could say that, but it's like you have to adapt. Can you still hear me, Rodney?
Yeah, you know, I hear you. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I've been an audience member on the cruise ship.
Okay.
And what you're saying is true. I've seen like some of the best get on there and do horrible.
Really?
Yeah, but these guys are winning. I don't know. It's a new day and age.
And just like you said, just the fact that Mark Simmons, who we know is a beast, and Mark Simmons to be out there means like maybe that vibe is changing. Scooter, have you had a chance to go out there on them high seas?
From a young comics perspective, somebody that's still in their 30s, I honestly wouldn't want to.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Right now. Can y'all hear me? Y'all hear me good?
Yeah, you was on the Matrix for a minute.
Oh, my fault. Y'all can hear me now? I'm good?
Yeah.
All right. From a young comic perspective, I personally, it's money. So it would be just a hustle.
Hold on. Stop right there, Scooter. Your ass is not young.
I'm 30. I'm still in my 30s. I look at
you about 30, 38, 39
I'm 37.
though.
I'm 37. I'm on
37, 38, all that's the same.
But
if
no,
you call yourself young one more time.
I ain't no young comic. I'm younger than y'all. My bad.
You younger than us, but your ass been doing comedy for 35 years.
I got a long time. No, personally, I would do it. For my daughter, I'd do it because I got a kid now, so I got to take any money I can. So comedy at times becomes a hustle. But personally, I do believe that it's like a slight retirement home. It's like a comfortability spot where you could just make a lot of money real quick in one spot. To me, like it's not a. It's like
you know, but what about us to play comedy clubs? Ain't that the same thing? You still going out on the weekend? You still spending 7-8 days? Daniel Dugard says, "Me and Mark just worked together 2 weeks ago. I'm a club comic doing my thing without the N word." Let me tell you something, Dugard. If you can't call in and give us that chip, I mean, my man Hank Denson is out there. Daniel Dugard is out there, and I've been around the world with Daniel Dugard. JP Justice, when you think of cruise ships, is that the death of your career?
Do you know why they used to call it the death of your career? That in
Why?
the result, do you know why?
I do not.
They used to call it the death of your career because you would go out there and the rest of the industry you wouldn't pay attention to. You're not doing auditions no more. You're not worried about television no more. You're not worried about like he said, it was like a comfortability spot where you went to and you knew that every week you was getting paid like this. So that's why they called it the death of your career. So now ask yourself this: of these comedians that are on these cruise ships that are killing it, how are they still involved in the other aspects of their career, or are they just cruise comics?
That's he illustrated my point exactly what I was trying to say. You start losing the hustle bustle and the grind of it. And I honestly, that's one of my goals is to do cruise trips, is to do cruises and to do trips later in my career so I can like kind of condense my travel.
But why do it have to be later in the career? And Thank you, Andromeda. My Wi-Fi was acting up. I'm cooking with gas now, though. God dang it. JP, you asked a great question, man. Back in the day, like you said, you wasn't able to do things, but now
you wasn't worried about it. I'm not saying that like them comics that kind of mentality came from resorts, like that came from resorts, and
but it's still the same though. If you go out on a cruise ship, they gonna have you working back-to-back weeks, and you still kind of leave the industry behind, don't you?
Right, and that's the question. Now ask yourself about these comics. Are these comics worried about other aspects of their career, or are they on? Because don't get it twisted, you can be very successful on.
But let's throw this out there. Black comics wasn't on cruise ships back in the day, so we as blacks, we outside of the industry a lot of times anyway in our black world.
100%.
Listen, what you're saying doesn't have no weight against what the job was, because even those that were doing the cruise ships, the Happy Coles and the blah 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 and the yada yada, they weren't worried about the rest of the other dynamics of the career. They were just like, hey, I'm out here to make money. I'm out here to make sure I can still do my art. You know, they put it under the guise of I'm still doing my art form, blah blah blah. But you got to ask yourself, are they still involved in the other aspect? Mark Simmons is our guy. How many times you see Mark Simmons on an audition?
I have a question.
When the last time you been on an audition? I mean, a lot of us we as black comics, we're operating outside of the status quo. Daniel Dugar says, I still play clubs, corporate events, theaters. I'm just not chasing Hollywood and those politics. I'm having fun now. I'm not mad at that, D, man.
That's the retirement mentality right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Is that true, Marvin Hunter? Is JP just losing his mind, or is he making a point?
I take our friend Hank Dissel for instance. Hank just dropped a special. When Hank is back on dry land, Hank is out here grinding. So, I mean, same thing with A-Train. I just talked to A-Train yesterday about some of the politics of the cruise ships, because there's politics involved with doing cruise ships too. So it depends on the person. It depends on the person. Me personally, I'm not with the cruise ships because, you know, me and you, Roddy, we've talked before. When I go on stage, I flip a switch. When I come off the stage, I turn that switch off. On a cruise ship, you're never able to turn that shit off because I got to see these motherfuckers. Every guy can't fucking go take a piss, and they talking to me, and I can't never get away from them, and that shit drive me crazy. But that's me.
I have a question.
I'm gonna bring you up next, Scooter. I haven't been on a cruise ship as this cruise ship comic, but I've been on cruise ships, you know, with private groups. To me, that's the lick. I've cruised with Tom Joyner. I've cruised with other private groups. Is that the lick for you, Marlon? Would you go with a private group as opposed to being the guy on the ship?
I would love to go, as long as they got their checkbook right.
Come on, dog. Come on, dog.
That's all. That's all it is.
That's it.
I want to say this on behalf of the two comics that I know that are doing the cruise ship. They get off that boat. And when they get off that boat, they come and get down. So it's like, I don't think they're in retirement mode, even though Mark Simmons is 84.
How old is he?
84. I still think that he's hungry because when he comes to go get out on the mic, he gets down.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he is like, he's on the cruise ship all the time, though. So if that's his niche, I think he found it.
Wow. Go ahead, Scooter. You had a question.
Okay. My first question. First, I got a comment and I got a question. First off,
Absolutely.
I'm honored to be around all y'all. All y'all have more seniority. I've seen all you guys on Twitter. I'm honored to be in this forum with y'all. My second question is, I think that, is there a trap of money in comedy? Could there be considered a trap? Because it's like, I think there's I believe that what's your aspirations and what's your goals versus the trap that's set for you. So you could be like, okay, I got these aspirations and goals in comedy and this is what I want to do. And then they set the trap and the money and the finances come and you be like, okay, I'm so safe here. I can't even get back to this.
Come on now.
And then it becomes, I have no aspirations and goals anymore. I'm just here.
I mean, that's a great question. I think you spoke to it earlier. It's like, I got a daughter now. So that changed everything. Your perspective changes, man. I mean, we was all young once and chasing, fame and fortune, but you get a little more practical as you get a little older in this game, man. You be like, you know what? I need to make 6 figures a year. I need to make, 200,000. I need to, and that thing, if cruise ships is that thing, then so be it.
For me, my trap is the alternative rooms. So I get into the alternative rooms with some of these like
Alternative, aka white
LGBTQ rooms, the different people and all that stuff like that. And I'm not none of that. I'm not white or LGBTQ. I'm not none of that.
It's none of our business, man.
But that's my trap. And I was like, I know if I stay in these rooms, I get really good at this, but I don't build the base of what I want. Sometimes I look down and I see an audience full of their people, and I'm killing. I'm like, yo, I don't feel right because it's like it's not my people here.
But I mean, ultimately, that's what I think we're working toward, is finding our people. I once there was an article in Vanity Fair Chris Rock wrote, and he just went on this tangent about how when he was coming up in New York that they made everybody laugh. But I'm like, nigga, you famous. Like, once you get famous, you never play for strangers again. Like, you never, like, once you arrive, you never go through that again. How about this? Let's cover this, guys, because any young commentator will see this in the future.
Let's stay with what Scooter just said. I like what Scooter just said. Scooter just said, you gotta ask yourself in comedy, what's your aim? What's your goal? What's your final destination? And don't get it twisted. It'll always change, and it'll always get bigger and better, and it'll always get greater. But when comics first generally get in the game, they get in the game with the aspirations of being a comic on the road, sitcoms, movies. That's usually where they keep their mind frame. At some point along, they either reality kicks in or they understand that there's other roads to take. And then when your goal changes in comedy, then your means, like what you want to do, changes. Like he said, he has a family. But how many comics do we know that have full-fledged families that don't give a damn about their families and still out here on the road, still don't have a bank account, still don't do things responsible, still sleeping from couch to couch? You know what I'm saying? They still live in that I'm gonna make it type dream. So the aspects of comedy just changed altogether. What I do like, and you said this as well earlier, Rodney, is that it's changed for us as Black folks. I do know of back in the 80s when Black comics, very, very few were on the cruise ships. Black comics, very few were on these resort cruise. Eddie Clark was a Black guy that was doing cruise ships and resorts. And when the Def Comedy Jam era came in, he was so distorted by how many more Black people stepped in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like he was losing work by the hour. He was losing work. So there's a lot has changed in comedy. So you got to ask yourself, what's the comics goal?
That's a great question. What spurred this conversation? Marlon and comedian STIX was having a great conversation the other day, dog, and I saw y'all talking about the game, how social media has affected us. I mean, that's another pivot we are forced to make nowadays. Let's talk about this, and Dugar's going to be calling in a second as well. Let's talk about, before we get into social media, let's talk about money, man. Because I think one of the things about this game is we never talk money. Marlon, you're an entrepreneur, a businessman. You took over your family's family business. That made you kind of pivot away from comedy, man. I still know and love you and respect you as a comedian, but did that in any way make you feel like you was less of a comic because you had to take care of real business in real life?
Yeah, it did. It did. I'm not gonna tell a lie, but in it, it's more so whereas there aren't any comedy shows, during the day. So it's like you hustling, you struggling, you need a job. So if you can make your own job and make your own time, you could do comedy shows at your place of business to keep everybody aware of what you got going on, and keep that like a home base. Because that lounge comedy is that everybody don't have that.
No, 100%. Everybody don't got that pace.
Everybody don't have that.
Yeah, you absolutely right. And this is the thing, man. Y'all tell me what y'all think, man. We 5 black men. We talking comedy. We make our living doing comedy, but it's like there's our world, the black comedy world, and then there's the quote unquote mainstream world. And if I could do anything different in my career, it would be I would purposely serenade the mainstream, because we know how to make everybody laugh. That's no question. But if you don't serenade the mainstream, I always say black folks will make you famous, but white folks make you rich. Am I tripping? Tripping?
You're right. You're right.
No, you're not.
Can I speak on that?
Right.
Please jump in there, Scooter.
Okay, I've been on the last year and a half. I've been making it a general basis to stay within the mainstream room, but I take the hood room mentality when I go into the mainstream room.
Okay.
So in the mainstream room, people are afraid to ask for guest spots. I'm not afraid to ask for guest spots. I'm not afraid to go into the green room, talk to the bodyguard, and say, "Yo, could you please ask this person, could I get on the show, or could I get us 5 minutes, and could I get whatever?" The only difference between my main thing is like being in it is that the fight, and y'all might see me get teary out a little bit, but the fight, you got to fight to be in it, especially when you young and black, or you look young and black. Like you're not even young and black, but when you just look of not that part, it's a fight. So no matter how funny you are, it's a network. In the black room, they can hate you. It's a lot of comics that people hate their guts, but they will work them because they funny. You go out here and get a standing out everywhere you go, and you killing it, they will work you. We can name plenty of black comics we do not like that come in there, and we're going to get him because he will blaze that room no matter what. In that white room, you could blaze, kill, well, not the white room, the mainstream comedy room, the punchlines, the heliums, all these clubs like that. You could kill, they'll shake your hand, say you did a great job. Guess what? We don't need you.
Yep.
Wow.
So it's more like who's your friend? But if your friend is one of those bigger white comics, like one of my friends happened to be one of those comics, he's like, "How are you not in here?" He go in there, go touch the guy, touch the owner. "Yo, put my man in here, put him on the show tomorrow." You want 5 shows now. It's just like that. It's just like that. You want theaters. You want everything just like that.
And that's for real. And Rodney, we talk about a particular club here all the time where, we talk about that whole mainstream thing, and that it's you want to go, but then you get there and you got to deal with the politics, and you didn't been doing this too long, and you too good, and it fucks with your ego. Because
so the question is, guys, how do you circumvent the politics? There's always a way. For me personally, so I had a relationship with Kevin Hart, right? So Kevin comes to town, and the owner of the club all of a sudden gotta talk to me to get a picture with Kev.
Ain't that
I talked to Kev. Kev's like, "I'll take a picture." He took the picture. Now them niggas is my niggas now.
Yep.
These white boys is like, "Yo, come, Rodney, man, whenever you want. Why don't you come down here, bro? Why don't you come down here?" I'm like, "You know what? I don't get treated well when I come down there." Now I got a direct connect to the owner of the club, and if I want to go up, I call him, and there's no problem. I don't have to deal with the Rudy Poots. Mm-hmm. So I think ultimately we got to circumvent the Rudy Poots if we can. Daniel Dugard's calling in. Daniel, you there? Dugard. God.
And to keep the conversation going while you're saying that, for me, I think that we have to teach our children, because growing up being an 80s baby, I was born 1985.
Yo.
My parents never taught me network. They taught you just be good at what you do and show up and be on time and do your job. That's what she taught me. Do your job.
Networking is everything.
And
Daniel, you there?
Network will take you far.
Daniel Dugard. Hello.
But I'm trying to teach my daughter more of that, because being in these mainstream rooms, I had to like revamp my image and everything, because I was known as like the scary black guy. That's what I was known as, and I'm not hardly that. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go in there with a whole new group of comics in there and be a totally different person.
What I find is that I go in front of white audiences and I destroy. And then they follow me online. When they get on my social media, they see that
That's when you lose.
radical shit, boy. I lose them, boy.
It's black
they
folks
go,
are scared of you, though, Marvin.
boy, they leave it.
What'd you say, Rod?
Because my act is not that. My act. So I kill on stage. But man, when they go to my social media, it's a wrap.
I'm black, y'all.
I've been trying to get
black,
better.
y'all.
Blacker than black, he is black, y'all.
Bro, I'm trying to get better, man. But boy, that's be my Achilles heel.
I got a question.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Let's see if I can get this thing. Check 1 2.
Technical difficulties.
Not at all. There we go. I cannot, D, man. I don't know what's my problem here. Shit.
Just like when
I'm
you
sorry,
try to teach
bro.
your uncle how to use the iPhone.
I can hear you in the air, but I want to hear you over the phone. Go ahead, Dugar. We can hear you a little bit.
Okay, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man? Hey, what JP was saying, I mean, he was saying some real stuff, but the comedy game has changed. We've seen it evolve into something else. Social media has changed the comedy game. Major headliners bringing their own acts to open for them has changed the comedy game. And for me, I still play comedy clubs and everything. And as you get older in this game, you move your chess pieces differently, man. I got on these ships. You can make 6 figures on a ship. You can still do the clubs. And then the corporate work that you get in private parties, you get from guests. The ship is another revenue stream when they from private parties. So retirement mode is not really what it is. It's increasing your revenue stream. Why are you chasing Hollywood when you've been dealing with the politics of trying to get in Hollywood? Chase your own goals and dreams that you set for yourself. You can still do a special. I just shot a special. Me, Ali Sadiq, and Bodacious, we just shot a special with DL. So it's not like we're in retirement mode. We out here getting it, and this is another revenue stream, man. You got to do comedy for you and your family, not for the pats and the likes, because at the end of the day, how you paying your bills? This cruise ship game has bought dudes cribs and investment properties. We still out here struggling, trying to get on stage and play in the politics with these comedy club promoters and agents and whatnot. So you got to flip the script and move accordingly to what's going to benefit you. Me and Mark Simmons was out here just a few weeks ago kicking it, talking about, man, if the brothers knew he was out here getting this, they would change their mindset and come and get it too, because there's not a lot of us out here.
Wow. Hey, Daniel Dugar, thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate it, man. I'm Rodney Perry. You tuned in to Rodney Perry Live. That's my man, Daniel Dugar. Currently on the high seat. Not even mad at him at all. Let's do this, guys. Let's talk about money, man. Quick pivot, man. How did you or how did you begin to set your price? You know, as a comedian, did you just play it by ear? Did somebody give you the game? How do you set your price, JP?
Ooh, I suck at this, bro.
Okay.
When I say I suck at this, New York comedy is different from comedy outside of New York. We can
New York is its own universe, absolutely.
Yes.
How I see you guys set your money sometimes doesn't work here in New York, because here in New York there's so many that are just as talented as I, greater talent, more talented than I. There are just so many. So sometimes it doesn't work the way you even explained to me. So how do I set my money? I basically try to go by the regular code. How many does room fit? What day is the room on? How much is the ticket price? Who else is on the show? And then basically I can go, okay, X, Y, and Z. Or I have like a set pay that I do when I'm like weekdays here in New York, like weekdays here in New York, Sunday through Thursdays, I'm at this price. Friday and Saturday, I'm at this price. And if you're asking me to host, that's another price. You know what I'm saying? So there's different gauges.
Got it.
Yeah, it's kind of.
What about you, Scooter? You're in Philly. Is it the same in Philly?
So what I do is I got like JP said, I go up to New York a lot. So when I go up to New York, I take what they give me. I take what they give me. I'm like, whatever y'all give me. So usually when they bring me to New York, I'll tell them to bring me up there, and I don't even ask. Like, I don't even ask how much I'm getting up, and I just take whatever they give me because I know in New York, I'm usually during the weekdays, so it's like a set. They have rates for rooms, so it's like this what I don't care if you Eddie Murphy.
It is what it is.
You getting that? So it's like they'll get you 2-3 spots, but in locally, I made sure I price myself in a range where I feel as though I may leave. So I made it, but I make it affordable. But I make
Marvin
it
Hunter, ATL, shawty, what's it like in Atlanta? And here's the second half of the question: do you have to look at yourself as a national act?
Yeah, you do. But here in Atlanta and the Southeast period, people you can have a nice life as a comic just working the Southeast. Mm-hmm. You can eat. But I know for me, COVID changed everything. Because before COVID, I would look at my calendar. If I had holes there, as a comic start packing on and need to feel that. After COVID, I changed my whole mindset. I don't leave my house but for a certain price. I don't leave the state but for a certain price. It's certain things that I just hold on to, and if they ain't got it, then I don't do it. It's just I just stick to my guns. So and sometimes I lowball myself. I just got lowball here while bushing, but I have my prices, and that's what I stick to. And I should be maybe more so looking at size of the venue and how many holes and stuff like that. And I was doing that before, but now it's like, man, you get older, bro. I got time for the book. This is what I charge. Either you pay it or you don't.
At the end of the day, your day is worth X amount of dollars. Marlon, man, you inside of Chicago is one thing, but if you going on the road, that's another thing. Or if you where are you at, and how do you establish like what a guy should, what a promoter or even a fellow comedian should pay you?
Well, it all depends on actually really what they got going on, because the people I deal with, they do like a monthly show.
Okay.
So in a month time of promoting and doing things, you should have a set budget.
Got it.
So it's like, you got that set budget. Come on, send that deposit. You got me.
Right.
But in you having me and that set deposit, just take care of me like you want to be taken care of. Yeah. These promoters are scummy, man. They don't give a crap about us. You got to stand up and you got to put your feet down. And you got to let them know, hey, look, dog, I've been doing this for this long. You know how much this stuff costs. You ain't going to do Rodney Perry like that. Don't do me like that. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I think JP said something earlier, and I think one of our paradigm shifts is this. We call this a game. This is business.
Yeah.
This is business, man. And Coco Fresh is joining us. Coco Fresh, you in the building. What's up?
What's up? Peace, everybody. Peace.
Coco Fresh, North Carolina's finest, down there killing them stages. And Andromeda just asked a great question. Let's get this in here. How do the vets feel about new comics being paid for shows? I've heard vets say we shouldn't be getting paid. Anybody want to take that?
I take it.
Go ahead, Marvin.
This is how I feel about that. We talk about this all the time, bruh. And so, if you don't have 5 minutes, bruh, you should not be getting paid. I'm sorry. Well, what are you talking about? When you have barely 5 minutes and you showed up, what's going, what they paying? Nothing.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Anybody disagree with Marvin on that? Anybody disagree?
I disagree. If they calling for you, get the money. If they call you, get the money. If you calling them, you doing a courtesy to them. But if they calling you, you don't got 5 minutes, that's on them. They pay for something you ain't got.
I think that's a veteran trap. That's a trap veterans try to use because abused people abuse people. Sometimes when you go to the store, you just want steak. You don't want the whole entree. Or sometimes you want just side orders. You don't want the whole entree. So if someone calls on a young comic and tell them and ask them, they tell them they got money for them, by all means, go and do it. Go and get the money. You know, there's no start date when you should get paid.
No. I'm not saying if someone call it. I'm saying that if they got a show, you're trying to hop on it. You're trying to hop on it. You're showing up trying to hop on. That's and you ain't got but 5 minutes. You're an open mic, and then you looking like, okay, what they paying? Nothing.
Yeah, but well, that's different.
That might be a different conversation. But I do get what you're saying, Marvin. Marvin is saying like, look, if you're an open micer, then but at the same time, like, if you can get it. Like we all know comedians. We all know comedians that got money that their business superseded their ability, and so. We all know a comedian that was really great at the business of this game.
Yes.
And did not have the time, but they got the gift of gab and they can get in situations. I'm not mad at that. I won't hate on it. It'll just affect your next gig for sure.
Oh, for sure.
It should.
To me, all they do is if they put somebody on the show that don't know what they're doing, that just up my price. Now I get paid better because now I look like Eddie Murphy. I need 10,000.
Hilarious. Coco Fresh, go ahead.
I just know a lot of bookers here, they book comedians on who fill up the chairs. So there's comedians here, especially in Charlotte, that they can bring out the whole hood, and the comedian don't be worth a shit, but they fill up the whole building, and then they'll bring in a person that's really strong that don't nobody know, and then they'll bring that person in.
Do the work.
Yeah. So
that should separate the price then.
It should. But what can you do about the guy that's willing to pay it?
Who gets paid more? The one that's bringing the people, or the one that is the real funny?
That's the question.
Real funny.
I'm gonna be real with y'all. As a promoter, and I own the club. The person who's bringing me the most money, go get that paper, baby. What do you say? I'm Russell Red. And I'm on the funny side of things that can't bring nobody in. But listen, that's part of it. Like, that's a big part of it. They pay $25 a pop to see this person.
I think that's ultimately our problem with social media comedians is that they have a following, but they may or may not have the skill set. What's y'all thoughts, man? Social media is king now. Do you feel the pressure to be, to furnish the internet with content? Marlon Mitchell.
Yes, you have to. Really, what I want to go behind that.
Okay.
The comics that are on social media, the majority of the people that are following them are children, man. Them people are unable. The money ain't there. You got the followers. You got all those followers, but a lot of those people aren't grown.
They don't equal asses in the seats, actually.
No, they don't. So
but then you got a guy like Country Wayne that's got all grown folks, and while he wasn't that guy at first, he has figured it out. If you keep telling jokes, you'll figure it out, won't you?
Ha Davis, Daphne Springs. There's plenty of social media.
I heard Ha Davis be taking bricks in the face.
Well, I'm not talking about whether or not they're funny. I'm talking about they have grown folks following them. Like it's you can't really say that these guys have young followers. It depends on who you're talking about, because I know Reddy, he's up here. When Reddy throws a show, I seen this guy throw a show in 2 days and had lines outside the building. So it really depends on the comic.
Yeah. And then Rodney, Rodney, we talked before. I was at a cigar bar, and not everybody in there knew I was a comedian. I'm just sitting there listening. These grown men, every man in there is over 45. And they were discussing comedy, but they were discussing internet people. And you heard people say, Country Wayne's the funniest comic in the nation. And another thing, no, Ha Davis is funnier than him. And it was grown folks arguing over internet comics and saying that they're the best comic in the nation. And I was just sitting back listening, taking it in, and I never exposed myself for who I was, and I just was like, I was in awe.
Shouts out to country.
Does that make you?
I'm
Does
sorry.
that
I'm sorry.
make you-
Coco first. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, but when that make you as a comedian, like I wanted to ask you, does that make you, Marvin, being that you know comedians, does that make you feel some kind of way when you see, like, only reason why these people are arguing over these people is because that's what you see and it's not what you know? Like, I know you know people that's way hilarious than all of these, but when you see these debates, how does that make you feel? Because I know with me, it just, like, I probably would have left the cigar bar if I heard some shit
at one point, it
Marvin did flip over the table.
Well, no. Actually, you know, Rodney, you know, so we talk about this all the time. At one point, that would have made me mad, but right now, I am not mad at them internet people. I'm trying to get like them.
Come on now.
I'm trying to get like them.
Yo, let me
I
tell you.
can't. Ain't no sense of being pissed. It's here. It is what it is.
Let me tell you. I'm sorry, Marvin. I'm Marvin, right?
Yeah,
Marvin. Let me tell you, about 10, 15 plus years ago, I remember Shane Forbes running around collecting emails from everybody on every show. He had a book, and he would go, "What's your email? What's your email?" And people thought that this man was losing his mind. Now he has a collection of over 2 million emails that he can just drop at the drop of a dime. When people tell me that they're upset with or they have any kind of disgruntled with social media comedians, I say this: Rocky trained in the Meat Locker, and he went on to 9 movies, a reboot, and all kind of stuff. So it's never about where you got your training from. And then who do you really blame? Because all they're doing is putting that art out. It's the people that was attracted to it. And then on top of that, we got regular, quote unquote, normal, regular comedians that take it in the face and take a brick in their face for over 10, 15, 20 years. And these social media comics are blowing them out of the water. So it really does all of that. All that varies.
And how about this, guys? There's not as many of them as you think. It seems like that we're in the social media wave, but the reality is only about 15 of them.
It's about 25.
Maybe 25. Let's say 100. Let's say it's 100 of them. That's a very small number in the grander scheme of comedy.
So what about the vets? What about the people that has been doing it for 20, 25 years and still, like I was saying in the chat, it's scary to see people that's been doing it 20 plus years and still taking road gigs that's $250 to $500, and it's like, damn, like they put in the work. Like, do we just throw them out, or what about?
Yes, we throw them niggas out. Yes, we throw them niggas out.
Take your emotion out of this. Take your emotion out of this, and they need to learn the business. How many of them same veterans go, "I'm not doing that internet stuff. I'm not getting involved with that internet stuff." Hey, yo, let me tell you something. And guess what? And if you don't evolve, you will dissolve.
And there's so many ways to attack this thing. Right now, we internet comedians. We on a foreign platform on the internet. We internet comedians.
Wow.
So there's so many ways to attack this platform and attack the internet. If your mind don't work in 15 seconds or a minute and a half, go make a production. Issa Rae, an internet comedian. Issa Rae done turned it into a conglomerate.
Very true.
She started on the internet. Quinta started on the internet. All these different people started on the internet, and you could do it from. I love the internet personally because it gave me hope, because I was doing the mainstream rooms and I felt as though I had to get to New York and I had to get to LA, and my grandma had a stroke. I couldn't move. So I couldn't move.
You know what it is? It's the old heads are used to the old ways. So the internet is almost like going back to open mic. So you're already funny, right? So you put something up and you get 3 likes and they crash. They emotionally crash. And that's why I love like Steve Brown, because Steve Brown's a vet and he figured it out. And now he do the spitball things and it's blowing up and everybody, but he stuck with it. He stuck with it. He never stopped, because most of the comments, the vets, you're funnier than these internet dudes. But the pace of the internet is not like on stage. You have to figure it out. You got to work with it.
And it's also this, Marvin. And I think you just spoke to this. The internet don't require it to be good. Like a lot of us are doing too much. You going off editing and motherfucking hiring the cameraman, motherfucker. You better open up this phone. This is the difference. I've been doing this 30 years. Marlon been doing it 25, 30 years. We've been around, right? And so the litmus test when I was a young comic was to get on TV and movies. This is just a new way to get famous.
You know what the phone did? It took the power away from the gatekeepers. It let you pitch directly to the people. That's why you got 2 million followers, because you no longer have to wait for your agent to give you the commercial that you got in front of, and then you gain the follow. Now you're famous. No, and the litmus test was you got to remember, I'm from that old school. I'm 34 years in comedy. Man, I remember the day I would walk down the street and people, this is before the internet. I'm walking down the street and people knew me, black and white. But you know, nowadays they know these social media comics. It took the power away from, like you said, Marvin, and it made them all of a sudden have to start at zero. Here's one thing I want to say to all the veterans that are upset with social media comics. Yeah, you're gonna be set back a little bit. But this is what I tell them all the time. But your talent will excel you the second they recognize that you're not young. You're not young in this business. So learn a little bit about the internet, because the second they get a whiff of you, boom, you're gone. You know what I'm saying? I tell when I do, you know me, Rodney, and I like what's the guy name at the top from Philly?
That's Scooter.
I tell Scooter, I like what Scooter said. I work between mainstream and both rooms. My feet are in both circuits. I tell my black comics, yo, bro, you gotta come to this mainstream. But yo, they don't pay enough. And just like Scooter said, we get trapped with the money. We don't want to, we so used to our $150 rooms, $200 rooms, that when you go to the white mainstream rooms and they talk about $25, $35, you're like, I'm not coming over there for no $25, $35. But you got to learn that lingo, because that's Hollywood lingo. You got to go learn that discipline. That's Hollywood discipline. You got to go learn it. So you know what you do? This is what I tell my veterans. You're going to be set back. Yeah, they don't know who you are. You're just some black dude that showed up at the club. But once they see your talent, you will excel very quickly.
I'm convinced that black comics are the best comics in the world. Andromeda says, I had to force myself to do videos. I kept feeling like I needed makeup and all that. I decided to just post and go. No one ever said, where's her makeup? That they don't notice. And then how about this, guys? I went and shot some videos with Country Wayne and his team, right? Dude, that shit was like having a TV show. You hear me, Marlon Mitchell? I shot that shit, and more people hit me up. It was like, yo, you was crazy on Country Wayne. And I'm like, wait a fucking minute. This shit is like having a show on network TV to be on this guy's network. And so we got to embrace the internet or motherfucking die, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Evolve with this.
Like to Andromeda, it is a difference. Like I did a test with makeup and without makeup, and people, the sexy with boobs out and all and not. It's a difference. You get more views when you look more done up for women.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
For women, that it's a whole nother school of thought. You got to decide, not only do I want to be funny, do I want to be sexual? Do I want to pimp my sexuality? You know, it's everything is harder for women, first of all. You know, for our female counterparts, everything is harder. And how about this? If you're a black pretty girl, I say you have a tougher career. What do y'all think?
Absolutely.
Well, first off, this is show business. So same way they get if they get dressed up, they get a little bit more views. Fellas, dress up and watch you get a little bit more views as well. So this is the business.
You ain't got no breasts to pull out though.
I got breasts, but I'm not gonna pull them out.
It ain't about having breasts.
I do too. We ain't got no big old booties either.
It's about,
you can buy one though. They got them on sale.
I don't want one.
The running price is about $3,000.
Well, the treatment is different. As a woman,
yes,
you gotta
is different. Yes.
Yeah, you gotta worry about what do you want to be valued on, how you look and how many views you bring it in, or what kind of respect are you gonna be given because of your comedy. Your like, are you a talented comedian? So we have to choose.
I got a comment on that. Marvin literally said the same thing. I think every comic and every artist has to choose, because even Tyler the Creator is big, major. He said he stopped putting up funny videos because nobody was taking his music serious. He said if they seen him everywhere he would go, they're like, yo, you so funny, you so funny. He had his own show on Adult Swim. Our Future, it's called Loiter Squad. It was a banging show. It was going crazy. And he shut it down and shut it all down, and then he won a Grammy because he said he wanted people to take him serious as a musician. And Marvin said when he does the white mainstream clubs, they come to his page and he can't keep them no more. So you do have to circumvent the internet in a certain way for males, females, everybody, because they start coming to you for that. I had to stop doing basketball on the internet. I would do a whole bunch of basketball stuff, and I was getting a lot of people who like basketball and all that stuff like that. And I was doing betting pages and all that, and nobody cared about coming to see me be funny.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is stupid.
Let me ask you. Let me say this. What part of my thing is, I straight Roddy knows this. I've toned my page down a lot. But what happens is, I feel like if I stop being me and stop being the abrasive person that my fans have come to love, and I start doing something else, I'm letting them down. I feel like I'm letting them down. So to make my page neutral, to appeal to everybody, I struggle with it. Because I have a fan base.
Here goes, guys. You're ultimately developing a brand. And your brand, I mean, you know, that's kind of the buzzword nowadays. It's my brand, But your brand is valuable. And so what fits in your brand? Some things fit in your brand. All aspects of you can fit in your brand. You can still do your basketball stuff, Scooter. You know, you just may have to house that in another podcast. You know, like I got a part of my brand that's a lifestyle brand. So I'm like, yo, let me start doing a podcast for that. And then how do we make the money? We got to get to the bag, man. Like, so do you have a Patreon page? You know, the young kid CP out of Detroit, he has a Patreon page. $5 to subscribe to his content. Guess what? He got motherfucking like 700 people that give him $500 a month.
Yeah. And that's the same thing I was.
Do the math. Who got the calculator? 7 times 500.
And Rodney, man, you
$3,500 a month.
Me and you talked about Shane Gillis. He got 45,000.
Yeah, that's a podcast.
He got 45,000. Shane Gillis. He's stand-up
comedian. Look at Marlon.
He got 45,000 at routines. $50, $25, $10, and $5 a pop. And he does that every month. 45,000. And he does that every month. But just think about it after the show. And that's why I said this comes back to the conversation of the cruise trips. Think about it. You do a cruise trip every month or whatever, and you touching 500 people. You get 100 of them to subscribe to your Patreon. Every time you come out, you're coming out with 100 people every month on your cruise trip. So it's a way to, today with the internet, it's a way to navigate everything and do everything at one time, where once was a retirement home. Now you could take it as an opportunity to touch more and more and more and more people with being in a safe place.
Let me add this. Let me add this too. First off, for those that are watching, don't be fooled. That internet stuff is a full-time job. Do not.
Let me tell you something. That shit take all day. I be in this room. I get up in the morning. I do this motherfucking podcast. I get through with this. I motherfucking start getting ready for my show tomorrow. I then do another podcast from 1 to 2.
Job,
this is every day. This is every day. It's a real job, man.
And you will lose. Unlike just like in comedy, you will lose if you are not. And here's the word: disciplined and consistent.
Again, the internet do not require it to be good.
You know how you can
require it to be there. God rest his soul, David Arnold, man, this guy, you know, was really off people's radar for many years. Nobody knew Dave, and then, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. He started putting it. He did a run of videos. He stopped. And then he started back up again, and the shit caught fire one day, and the rest is history. We saw Christine Porter develop the character she does. What's the Miss Charlene character? It could be character based, it could be you based, but you got to. I think nowadays you have to be giving the internet something.
Scooter, to answer Scooter's question when he said when he put his basketball, no one paid attention or no one cared. Here's what you get. Here's what you got to do, bro. Be consistent with it. if you look at my pages have no niche, because that the word you're looking for is niche. People want you to have a niche or niche in this thing. If you do this one thing, you got to constantly do this one thing, and you got to focus on this one thing, because this one thing is what. Well, I'm determined to have no niche. I'm determined to be just as random and funny, because that's all. What's my niche?
No,
Just
if
fun.
you have a niche, you are the niche.
No, I don't put.
That's it.
Like, I put funny videos up of other people. I put entertainment, hip hop videos. I put black videos, because I'm like Marvin. White people love me until they get a little closer and they realize I love black a little bit more than you, cracker.
Hey,
All right, out of here
Bro,
with
I
that
feel-
shit.
I
Hold
feel-
on, let's get that nigga out of here. Okay, first of all, what you're not gonna do is bring down this empire.
this live stream.
But I
was
feel you.
brought to
I
you
feel you.
by-
I wanted my page to be a one-stop shop for everything. I'm a multi-layered, complicated guy, and I know that have a niche is pushed. And I know the proof is in the pudding. People out here winning like that, but I'm not that. I have so many different interests, and I'm this. I'm the grumpy uncle. So whatever I do, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna come across as
That's
a
the brand. That's the brand.
That's my brand. So, but I touch on everything. You know what I'm saying, politics, hip hop, everything, bro. So it's a hard, arduous sludge, but you know, I feel you, JP. I feel you on that, definitely.
Coco Fresh, talk to me about this, man. You pivot in a couple of spaces. Coco Fresh is not only a fabulous comedian, she's also she does tarot card readings. You know, that's another space, and you have successfully navigated that space. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, the Fresh Tarot is just basically I do spiritual advising. So coming into this, I got a lot of don't do your tarot readings along with your comedy, because people are not going to take your spirituality seriously. So that really was hard. But now what I do is, even with my readings, I always throw in a splash of comedy in there. Like, you're gonna laugh in your read, even if it's something that is serious.
Hold on, Coco. What the fuck is that noise?
I don't know, but
Is that somebody's stomach growling?
Sound like
hey,
somebody's stomach
JP!
growling. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sound like somebody's stomach
Is
growling.
it going?
Hey, why
Yeah,
you
it's going.
pulling out that 9 of swords? I get my sleep. What you talking about?
Hey,
I don't know the first thing about these cards. I just love them. I just love them. I would love to learn how to read them, and I think that what you're doing is definitely fabulous. How you interwoven comedy in the tarot cards, Scooter. That's the key.
I separated my
And
what I
Coco
did.
lends me her skill set on Fridays when she comes on my show.
It's white
Okay.
women. Listen, this is my thing. It's white women that goes around to different comedy clubs, and they do. People come and pay tickets, and they see these people come and get readings and do the same thing. I have yet to see a black man or a sister that do the same thing. And when I would go, I'd be like, you know what? I could do the same thing. I could do that. We need
Yes.
somebody to represent us. So that's what's coming up with the Fresh Tarot. I will be incorporating. So we got any other comedians that do stand up
me how to
and
read.
into
Teach
the
me how to read.
spiritual arts? Let's do it.
Teach
love
me how
that.
to read. Teach me how to read.
JP, honestly, what I did was circumvented. I have 2 pages. I have Coach Scoop, which is my coach, all my coach stuff, everything doing what I do with basketball and everything like that. And I'll mix some comedy and mix some funny stuff in there, but for the most part, I'm just talking about like basketball. And then Scooter Comedies is anything else.
Well, listen to what
That's
Marvin
that's
said.
the
Marvin
comedy
said.
stuff.
Listen to what Marvin said. Hey, what's up, King Simon? Listen to what Marvin said. Everything that he does, he doesn't subscribe to one niche. He subscribes to everything, but it all ties into the grumpy uncle.
Grumpy uncle.
Right. It all ties.
JP, they can't all mine's can't all tie. I deal with children. So I coach, I mentor, I do all that stuff. So mine's can't all tie. Like literally, I did the show with Tony Roberts, and a kid's parent seen me the next day coaching a kid. And the parent was like, yo, Scooter, you were funny as hell last night. I didn't know you was a comedian all this time. I said, now, would you have sent your child to me to teach him basketball if you knew I was a comedian? She was like, no. And I was like, that's exactly why, because people are narrow-minded and straightforward. Now, I got friends that I coach that are NBA players that trust me. But then I get man, he a comedian, he don't know what he's doing. I've been doing basketball longer than I've been doing comedy. And I've been doing both for a long time. So it's like no. So there's
Hey, Scooter,
opportunity.
hold that right there. We're gonna take a break. When we come back, y'all, more with Scooter, more with Marlon Mitchell, more with Marvin Hunter. Coco Fresh is in the building, and let's not forget the great JP Justice. My name is Rodney Perry. You tuned in to Rodney Perry Live. We'll come back at the top of the hour.
Get ready for America's #1 funny man. What? Hey. Make some noise. Ladies and gentlemen, from LA to New York, Chicago to Mississippi, let's give it up for America's #1 funny man, Rodney.
Party people, it's your boy Rodney Perry. You're tuned in to Rodney Perry Live. We are back in full effect, man. I'm just sitting here thinking, man, such a wealth of knowledge. You got hundreds of years of experience in the comedy game, and they came on here. I want to aggregate these conversations more and more because we're all operating on these islands, and you feel like you got to do it alone, and you don't have to do it alone. You got the resources. You got me. My number is always open and on. You got Scooter. You got Marvin Hunter. You got Marlon Mitchell. How about this, man? JP Justice, who we talk all the time, Coco Fresh. We gotta utilize our resources. Marlon Mitchell, man. First of all, thank you for coming on today, bro. I really appreciate it. Man. Hey, Marlon, man. Talk to me about entrepreneurship, man. You run a business, and how did you know you could even do it?
Well, I didn't know I could do it. I just jumped out and leaped out on faith, and I just gave it to God. But my mother and father kind of laid it down for me early in life. They're like, baby, look, if you gonna continue this is what you're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be fair. It's gonna be rough. So get prepared for it.
I would imagine that running your family's business is harder than comedy. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
But from somebody else on the outside looking in, they think it's easy.
Wow.
I gotta always say something to somebody. They come in, they want free drinks. They thinking I'm making money over, hand over foot.
Yeah.
And I got bills up the rump. So it's like, wow. I swing both of them, but it's like to younger entrepreneurs, you got to remain steadfast. You got to be disciplined. You got so many things that's going to be coming your way. You got to stop this. You got to do this. You got to stop this. You got to do this. And then you got kids that you're raising that you want them to understand what you're doing. So every day is different, and it's rough out here, Rodney.
Hey, man, I know it is, bro, and I couldn't be more proud of you watching you navigate this business world. It's not a game, bro.
No, this is not a game at all. This is really, really hard work, and it's not easy, man. And a lot of people, I want to say this because I want people to hear me clearly. Everybody don't want to see you prosper.
Wow, how about that?
They don't want to see you prosper.
And that's true whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in comedy. Everybody is not trying to see you win, man, which is like, it's disturbing, but it is what it is.
Man, I want to see everybody win.
Wow.
I don't understand what this is that we're dealing with, but it's fair to say that we had them 1950s and 60s parents.
Yeah.
That nothing was easy for them. So it's kind of rubbed off on me. When I see people out here blowing money fast, I'm like, man, you could have been investing that and doing something to make you some more money.
How about that? How about that? Wow. Hey, that man right there is Marlon Mitchell. Marlon, stay right here. Don't leave me. Don't leave me
I
yet.
ain't going nowhere.
I want to get you all on individually as well as collectively. Scooter Wilkinson, Scooter, you got a baby now, man. Changes all your perspective. Am I right?
Yeah, everything, man. I'm going through that first time parent anxiety. Like, I'm so scared everywhere I go with my daughter. Like, I think somebody going to attack her or do something to her. And I'm like, no, because I watched.
Did we lose him? God damn it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on the show, man, I call him the fastest man from zero to headliner, Marvin Hunter. Marvin, first of all, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Being a real deal headliner, the hardest thing sometimes is establishing your price. You spoke to it earlier. Talk to the young comics about like, and I hear what you're saying, not making a lot of money at first, but when you start making money, how do you establish that and make sure people get worth?
Well, when you're coming up through the ranks, you know what I'm saying, you establish these relationships with these promoters and stuff like that. And you're just happy to be on. You happy somebody thinks you're funny enough to book you, right? So you go along there. But as you progress, you get higher and higher. One of the hardest things is when those people who started out with you, they try to rebook you and try to book you for the same price that you started at. Bro, it's years later and they don't understand. They do not understand. I'm like,
come on, homeboy. Last time you came out here, we did what we do. 500.
Yeah, bro. I mean, you can't keep me at that price, bro, because I appreciate you booking me back in the day, but bro, I can't come for that. I can't.
I live by these words. There's always more money.
Yeah.
Nobody gives you their best price at the outset of negotiation. Nobody.
Yeah.
You know, if a promoter call you talking about I got 1,000, he got 2.
Yeah.
If he say he got 2, he got 5.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it never fails. All you can fail to do is ask for it. Marvin Hunter is in the building. Stay right there, Mom. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, JP Justice. He has this nigga is the king of technology. JP, what is this little square next to your head, nigga? That shit's amazing.
That is okay. I'm glad you said that. I'm getting ready. You know what I'm getting ready to do? Notice I got it moving.
I'm about to scan it.
Yeah, scan it. Oh, please do. By all means, ladies and gentlemen, please scan it.
It goes scanning your face. My thing is scanning your face.
It's gonna come up with all my kids.
Take you full screen. Hold
on. I can fix that for you. Hold on, I'll fix that for you. Go ahead, scan it, bro. There you go. Get your scan on. Get your scan on. Get your scan on. Got it?
There you go. Link tree.
Go to your link tree.
Oh, nice. So it's all your stuff.
All my stuff. A one-stop shop. Go to my store there. See the t-shirt, my little merchandising store. You got your merchandise in there. I'm getting ready to drop my video on there so that this way I can introduce myself to people and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to in one of the busiest cities in New York, I'm going to put my QR code on a picket sign. And I'm going to go through Times Square.
You're going to pick it. You're going to pick it yourself.
I'm going to picket my own QR code. And I'm going to get my numbers up because numbers.
Now where did you get this from? Just, you know, if anybody else on the panel wants to start using the QR code.
Oh, so here's the thing, ladies, people. Here's the thing.
You can't just send it to people because you can't scan it. Or maybe you can scan it while it's on your phone.
Yeah, you can. All you got to do is touch it. Just touch it.
Okay.
So once you get it on your phone, just touch it, and it'll go right to the site. Right now, we talked about the internet comics and all that kind of stuff. So what we have learned is that numbers matter. Numbers matter on social media. So our goal is to gain numbers.
Okay. Save the big pitch. Give me the pitch you pitch to people in real life. You just did a show. Do you send them your QR code? Do you have it on stage? And like, what's your pitch from the stage?
All right, so here we go. I usually have a whole bunch of them on little pieces of paper, and I'll have some either the waiter.
You put it on the tables,
and I put them on the tables.
Nice.
Tables. And then as I'm doing my show, I go, ladies and gentlemen, I see that little QR code on your table. Just scan that and follow me.
They'll hit that shit immediately too.
Average about 25, 30, 40 people every time I do it.
Really?
Yeah. Every time I do it.
I
Depending on
love
how big
that.
or what I'm really planning to do when I do those big shows, put it on a big page, put it on a big banner, and then have it sitting outside and I stand by it. And you know how people want to take pictures with you? They take pictures with you and they just
It's in every picture.
And they scan it right there. Boom.
Wow, I love it. Stay right there, JP. JP Justice, the king of technology. Ladies and gentlemen, Coco Fresh. I really wanted the lady to be represented today, and she came through for the homie. Coco Fresh, you are making your way through this game, man. You working this weekend, and you're always working. How do you maintain your flyness? How do you stay relevant?
That's a good question. I just try to just pop in on everything. That's all. I pop in, I try to support everything. That's what I do. I don't do a regular social media stuff and all this stuff. I just pop in and support people on their stuff. And so it's just like, I think it's got to a point. I wanted to get to a point to where it's just like, ooh, Coco Fresh, I heard of that before. That name sounds familiar. So it's like being that person that's just like, oh, I've heard of her before. I've heard, oh, let me dig. And so when you dig and you Google and you look, it's like, oh, okay. So that's more of my technique. I have a problem with consistency and on posting every, I don't do it like that. I just always pop in. So a point to where it's just like Coco Fresh. You heard that before. So
Coco Fresh is in the building. Marlon Mitchell is back. Scooter Wilkerson is back. Comedian Marvin H is back. And of course, JP Justice. Thank you all again, guys and girls, for coming through. How about this? What is the etiquette? What's the etiquette in the game, man? One of the problems cats have with social media comedians or even young comedians is that they don't know the etiquette. My question to you, is it your responsibility to give them the game?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Go ahead, Marlon.
Yes, it is. And really, it's like everyday life, man. You only talking to the people that's listening, man. Because some people, man, they got their own way of doing things, and you don't want to disturb them on that. So whoever's willing to listen, and just stay on it. Don't give up. Keep on going. Somebody gonna find out who you are, man, and just be respectful, man. That's all.
Hey, what's the etiquette point for you, Coco Fresh, that you would like to see young comics adhere to, if you will?
If you know you are on a show, or if you know you're on a lineup, do your research about your comedians. Know who they are, what they've done. Give them their flowers. Like, if you know you going up with a vet, like, give them their flowers. Let them know, yo, I follow you. I see this. I know that makes, it builds the relationship. Also, don't worry about when you going up. Who closing? When I'm going up? Just go and be ready.
Go stay. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
That's
JP
right.
Justice, man. You've mentored tons of comics, man. What do you require out of your little homies, bro?
First off, I do a lot of listening to them because the circuit has changed so much. The club promoter has changed, the club owner has changed, the booker has changed, the people have changed. So here I am with this old 1970s style. You gotta have a white wall Cadillac to drive up in here. I do a lot more listening to them. There's some basic. One of the things I always tell young comics all the time is you're gonna get your chance to be Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Stephon. You're going to get your time to shine if you're consistent with this. But one of the things that they all have in common is that they all went to basketball camp. And what you have to learn is the fundamentals of this. You got to learn, especially when it comes to stand-up comedy. I tell them you got to learn God damn it, I can't even remember the word myself, man. A premise, setup, and punchline is. You got to know what taglines are. You got to know what style of comedy you strong at. You got to learn what's a callback. There's certain things that I tell young comics. These are just basic things. You know what? We've hit
the vocabulary of what we do.
Yeah, we've hit this. What's the name in comedy? We've hit this. What's the name in comedy? Set breaking down the elements of urban stand-up comedy.
That is your book. Am I right, JP?
Yeah, number 9 bestseller when it came out 2012. It was number 9 bestseller. So I just wanted to put that out there. But one of the things
I think every comic should have a book too, which is another conversation. But yeah.
So I teach all that kind of stuff. As far as person etiquette, how about respect? Respect goes a long way as opposed to teaching them. Because one of the things that I don't like doing, man, I don't like hearing veterans teaching young comics the pain that they felt. And I hear this a lot. Yo, man, we went through it like this, so they got to do it like that.
Why they talk retarded like that? Why
they? What they say sounds retarded. They got to do. Hey, yo, if this is how I did it, that's how they did it. Come on, man.
But there's a lot of comics that fall in that. I mean, the big homies for me, you know, would say the entertainer, who is always a great guy, but you know, Steve and those guys, they wanted you to go through what they went through. They didn't give a fuck. They was like, look, I saw Steve, nephew Tommy, who works with Steve. Them, he was trying to get more money at one point, right? And they was like, let me ask you something, dog. Is your name up there? Your name ain't on the marquee, nigga. You need to shut the fuck up. Take what I get. And they was not playing. They was not playing. And what they did, they stalled it out because they knew Rodney Perry would take that $1,200, and I did.
Okay.
There's always a comic that'll take the money you want. Know that.
That's right.
Let me say this, dog. I hear what you're saying, JP, but bruh, I believe in common sense, man. I take my same rules I have from life and I apply it to comedy. You wouldn't get hired on a regular. You wouldn't get hired at a business, and you're the mail boy. You're in the mail room, and then you walk up to the CEO. What's going on, Bob? Hey, Bob, I think you should do this. I think no. You don't get to talk to Bob. And you know, Rodney, we had a situation that could have turned tragic a couple of weeks ago.
Very true.
Where a youngster comedian was doing the same shit. You need to stay.
Now, hold on. In reference to that moment, though, your boy could have stopped that shit way before it got crazy.
Right, but he should have been put in that situation.
True enough.
He should have been put there. He should have been put there.
I'll definitely yield that. And for anybody that don't know, we was outside of the open mic here. We all just pop in and talk shit and do sets, and one of the young comics just started attacking the vet. Just started attacking him for no reason. And the vet, he could have yielded, but he didn't have to yield. Right? And ultimately the guy ran to his car, acting like he was gonna pull out a gun, and it was a lot.
You said something to me a few months ago, Rocky, that weighed a lot. I'm on these social media sites, and I'm on these social media sites with these young comics. And I got into it with one of these little flaky ass crybaby comics, young comics. And I found myself arguing with him. And then you hit me with, hey, yo, dogs, they're not supposed to be able to talk to you, period, let alone talk to you disrespectfully. So,
you give people access to yourself sometimes.
Right.
You know, people like motherfuckers is always respectful to Rodney Perry because I don't tolerate nothing else. You know, like even when I'm playing video games, my name on my video game handle is Mr. Perry.
So when you play the 10-year-old, Mr. Perry,
go ahead, Coco. I'm sorry.
I see a lot of comedians come in onto shows and they make it competitive.
Yeah,
I like
see that a lot.
I like.
No, now, I'm the ultimate competitor. Now, in my mind, when I go to LA and different cities, I want to fuck motherfuckers up. I am a dog. I'm trying to bite you. I'm a horrible.
So what look, watch this. I like to snap. I like to snap and crack. When I come into places, I like to snap, Joan, whatever you want to call it in your neighborhood, in your region. I like to snap. So
Signify.
Right. That gives them
Signify.
He went 1950s on us right there.
Signify.
Waiting for him to pull out his spoons and be like, I'm a click. Listen, so that gives them access to feeling like I am their equal.
it makes you their equal. Like
It does.
they
It
don't
does.
even
It makes you
engage
their
me.
equal.
Like my signifying muscle is so weak right now, but I would rather them respect me than feel like they can just motherfucking join me. And how about this? I'm not gonna have no roast either. If you see Rodney Perry roast, know that the nigga is unauthorized. Because I don't want nobody talking about me. I don't like this.
So what do I do? So listen, first off, let's agree with this. That's a part of our genre. That's a part of our comedy.
If you see somebody put together a Rodney Perry roast, just know it's unauthorized.
JP, I think that the roasting thing, I think it turns so left, and especially with the industry taking. Hold on, let me finish for a second. You're talking about snapping, talking about Jones, and I think that because comedy has become so marketed, usually dudes who getting into stand up now, they're not getting in because they're the funniest person in their neighborhood and the funny person they block. They're coming in because they just enjoy stand up, or they trying to marginalize off this. So it's like when you come in and you're picking with them or jonesing, whatever you think it is now, they not looking at it the same way. So people not armed as it was back in the 90s. Wow. That's where it came from.
Hold on, everybody freeze. Coco Fresh and I just did a roast for the great Tone X, and in my opinion, people hit below the belt during that roast. And you know, and it was obvious. It was like everybody was like, "Really, nigga?" And
this one,
there's a way to approach it. Go ahead, JP.
The art of roasting, joning, snapping, cracking, signifying doesn't get personal. And what happens is that, like you said, these guys don't understand the line, and they always hit below the belt. But this is a known thing with comics, because comics hit me under the belt all the time, and then their reasoning is, "Come on, man, we comedians. I got freedom of speech. I can say what I want to say." No,
you got freedom of speech, but you ain't got freedom of not get hit in the mouth.
Right. There's repercussions behind your freedom. There's repercussions behind your freedom, and they don't want to eat that part, but they just want the selfish part that they speak of. So all
right. Let's not dwell there. We're leaving, JP. We're leaving.
Let me just say this, right?
JP, we're leaving.
Please let me say this part. Let me say
this.
Say
it, JP.
There's a that's a part of our art form. When you do
this shit, you gotta let him talk.
When he is snapping and cracking. So we can't eliminate that from our art form just because few bad apples. So what I'm trying to say is this: comics need to learn, as I said earlier, respect. And when you learn respect and self-respect, you learn how to respect others, and you can respect this art form. This art form is not a reason for you, gives you a blank check to say and or do what you want to do. It doesn't do that.
The younger generations are sensitive. They're sensitive.
All right, here we go, guys. This will be probably our final topic of the day, man. Here we go. Joke thievery. Where do you stand? We're going to open with JP Justice, man. Where do you stand? Have you had to deal with it? Have you been called on a joke? How did you deal with it? And, man, I would love to hear your perspective as a 34-year vet.
Well, first off, you know, my negative list goes down the line with smacking comics, punching comics, throwing shit in the club, blah blah blah, knocking comics, blah 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 blah. But never have you heard of JP stealing jokes. And how I feel about stealing jokes is relax. There's nothing new under the sun.
Wow.
You have not put together some words that have never been put together ever in life. I am now starting to coin a phrase called public domain premise, where what you say has been, I've been in this 34 years. I've either heard it in a generation of comedy or in a region of comedy. I've been in this place and I heard this guy. I know you never heard of this guy, but you said the same joke. I know you don't know. That was 20 years ago. I know blah, blah, blah. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people out there stealing, but you should not be caught up. You are what they call a bricklayer. And what you should constantly be doing is making bricks. I watched Capone steal Tony Roberts' joke. And I watched Tony Roberts sit there and go, fuck it, I'm going to go write 5 more.
And low key, people be saying Tony be stealing. So, I mean, you know, I've got
the greatest joke thief we'll ever know.
Hey, that nigga's incredible. He gonna do it better than you. That's the sad part.
And he'll tell you he's gonna do it better than you too.
And Rodney, that's what I was thinking. Like, what happens when somebody takes yours and make it 10 times better than you? So I don't marry.
Hold on, let's not jump the gun there. So I've been doing this 30 years. I've been called on 2 jokes in 30 years. The one joke, it was the premise of the joke was that when you with your girl, you don't look at a woman coming, you look at what she gonna be, so you can wait for her and she cross your sight. Guess what? Corey Holcomb had a joke like that. Hey, yo,
That's mine. That's mine.
this is your shit.
That's mine.
Corey took it from you.
Took it from me.
So
Took it
Corey
from
called
me.
me on the joke. Corey called me on the joke and he said, man, I've been doing that joke. I was like, look, dog, I ain't seen you doing it, but it's yours.
Damn, Corey, he gonna call you on it, but it's mine.
Look,
Motherfucker.
you know what's more important than the words is when you steal a guy's essence.
Now watch this. Now
When you steal,
I'm gonna take that joke out my phone right
I'll
now. I wrote that joke. I'm gonna take that out my phone.
Take that out your phone.
I introduced the dude on stage. If he wasn't doing the whole JB Smooth, everything, the run, everything of JB Smooth, to the point where I'm hosting, I had to get in, I interrupted his show. So, DJ, throw the music on, cut this out. No, give me this mic, bro. What's wrong? You know where you got that from. You know this whole style.
Right.
I'm not even gonna let you, ladies and gentlemen, his show is over.
Do we have a responsibility as vets to even, to police that? I mean, you could have got punched in the mouth, JP, for that.
You should knighted him. That's
I'm joking. I'm joking. I apologize. I'm sorry.
I'm waiting to
You
say
should
something.
knight him, JP. JP 6'5". He can do stuff like that.
Don't take nothing
Rodney, we ain't 6'5". We can't do
from me.
that.
I'm 6'8". I am 6'8", 340. Let's go.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why he can do stuff like that.
Do
Like,
dude.
he's like, all right, he cut the mic.
All
off
jokes
there,
aside, Scooter, talk to me about joke thievery, man. You the young boy today. Talk to me about joke thievery and how you perceive it, and do you worry about it at all?
I worry about it. It's certain ones, but honestly, when I go to New York and I work the mainstream rooms, I know it's something that's going to be left there. I'm like, one of these jokes is going to be stay here. It's either going to end up on a TV show or it's going to end up on something. So I watch what I say in certain places because I'm like, the mainstream comments, they thirsty. So I'm like, all right, I see what they're going to take. I'm like, I'm going to just leave that for the culture. This is a topic. Y'all can have this. So I'm like, y'all can have this, but y'all can't have this.
Hey, when I start traveling around this country, you know what I found out? That if you're doing basic ideas, somebody is doing it. If you're doing motherfucking jokes about gas and jokes about relationships and fucking and booty eating, now booty eating is a hot topic.
But what do you do when they steal from your whole life? Like they steal your life, like a life experience. That happened to me because she sure did put my joke on her Netflix special, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh man, you're calling on names.
We calling names? Who is it?
Tiffany Haddish Netflix special.
Really?
That breakdancer stripper.
Now, did she see you? Do we know
writers,
she saw you?
One of the people that write for her do.
And that's one of the problems that I have. That's one of the problems.
That's the part that I say I charge to the game because I see the writers and I know they get.
But they say the same thing about Kevin Hart, man, and I know his writers, and they like got time to go out and watch people.
And it's like we think people don't pay that attention, but people pay that shit attention because I did the same joke on True TV and the actor and mine was very personable. And I had a list of people under the True TV video talking about, damn, Tiffany Haddish, I think Tiffany Haddish took that shit from her.
Wow.
So
Coco, let me ask you this question.
No, let me ask you this, JP. What does she do, if anything?
Oh man, y'all not gonna like. I swear I have the unpopular.
Say it, JP. We ain't got all day. You be pontificating with your ass.
Bomba clot, gal. Not. She not focused on you like that. I'm tired of hearing comics.
I'm not saying
I'm not. Don't take this personal. Don't take this personal. I'm just saying in general.
It's already too late. Just say it.
In general, don't take this personal. I hear so many comics sit down and they'll watch a cartoon, one of these adult cartoons. That's my joke. They watch a TV show, a sitcom. That's my joke.
JB, what do you do? What do you do?
This your
Write
life.
another
This is your life story.
Another brick. right?
Man,
Build
No,
another.
that's why I throw him
fuck
out.
that.
That's why I say I
Perry, can I
Build
say
You know
Everybody
what?
freeze. Marlon
I'm
Mitchell,
gonna
you
be
got the
in-
floor. Hold on, Coco.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
we
be
coming.
in
Hold on,
picture
Coco. Hold on,
today.
Coco. Coco about to fight. Hold on, Coco. Stay right there. Don't fight. Marlon Mitchell, you got the floor.
Hey,
Man,
hold
I
on,
got a
let's get
comic
to the
that's
call.
in LA right now. We started out as friends. He knew this was my joke. This mother went and did it in a movie. Now he so-called claims that it's his. My mother was there when I was putting this joke together. God bless my mother.
Yes, sir.
She told this man to his face, boy, you know you wrong.
Wow.
You know you stole it. You stole my son's joke. I don't think he should talk to you no more.
Can I ask what the joke was, Marlon?
The joke was me calling my girl on the phone and she's never answering the phone. And I'm leaving voice messages to let her know how angry I am about her not answering the phone.
Over time.
Over time, like, baby, the
Ooh,
kid's grown. They finna go to college. You gonna call back?
You know who does that joke?
Who?
I do that joke, and I just rehashed that joke last night about Valentine's and you breaking up, and she breaking up with you, and leaving the messages on the machine, and she played the machine back.
Well, ain't no machine no more, so y'all both lying.
What I'm saying,
I was doing that.
what I'm saying to you,
Trifling is his name, the comic that stole it.
Okay, now I remember when you say trifling, I remember trifling doing that bit.
Right. So
and he probably did borrow it from you.
But what I'm saying is,
did more than borrow. He stole it.
Their public domain situation.
But JP,
JP,
I push back on you a little bit.
But
Public
I just want to say this.
People make stuff public that ain't public, man. Somebody originated that thing. Somebody said, "Hey, put this in the mouth." My simple stuff. Somebody said that first.
How can you explain me and Marlon doing that joke? And I did that joke originally back on in Showtime at the Apollo. I've done it on Showtime at the Apollo years.
This joke is this joke ain't the same as the joke you're talking about, JP.
Thank you, Donita. I did it last night.
JP. It ain't the same though. Like what Marlon is saying, I've seen Trifling do that. And you know, when I was in LA seeing him come up, I remember him doing that joke.
That's
Uncle
why
Rodney, I got a question for
That's why I
y'all.
be trying to fuck with TV like
No,
that.
because I wasn't in LA.
Uncle Rob, Marlon.
Can't worry about it though, guys. Let me stop you. Let me stop y'all.
Yeah.
You cannot worry about the words. You cannot worry about the words. People don't buy. When I hire Marlon Mitchell, Marvin Hunter, JP Justice, Coco Fresh, Scooter Wilkerson, guess what I want? I want that human being. I don't give a fuck what you say. You lucky if you got a joke one motherfucker remember. You lucky.
Yeah.
Listen.
Thank you.
So what I'm saying as we move forward as human beings, don't get me wrong. I get it. I mean, we work hard on our jokes, and that's an intricate joke, Marlon. And motherfucker take it if it hurts. But I'm buying Marlon Mitchell. I'm buying you. I'm putting
I
Marlon
feel
Mitchell
you,
on the
Marlon. Marlon, I
Thank you.
understand.
Thank you.
Listen,
I feel everybody.
We cannot all talk at once. We cannot all talk at once.
My last run in Hollywood, I was just there last year, and I'm sitting down listening to these comics, and I'm listening to how loosely they write because they know they're trying to sell their jokes to TV or movies. Then I come back home and I realize how much we write to put our jokes in our pocket. What good is that joke in your pocket? That joke is supposed to be sold so that you can go on to the next joke and bring in more layers to what you do. If you mean to tell me that you got a joke cap at what you do, then you've already limited yourself. Now, this is what I'm saying. There's bigger fish to fry. I'm not saying if you hear somebody steal something from you verbatim to the point where they breathe just like you and blah, blah, blah. Yes, okay, but on a whole, we worry about jokes that are just so common. The great, and I'm only saying great because they passed, because when you don't say great, people get upset. The great Todd Lynn said, come on, man. There's so many emotions in this goddamn shit. The great Todd Lynn said, when you come up with a joke and you get a punchline, that first punchline, leave it alone. Because millions of people got that first punchline. When you get to that second and third one, leave it alone. Because there are people that said, I'm not going to fuck with that because a lot of people do the first one, so I'm going to do the second and third one. When you get to the fourth punchline, there's somebody who's sitting back there in a genius mode getting to that punchline. You got to get to a point where the joke expresses you. Just like Rodney just said, I didn't hire the joke. I hired you. People love you. You're
All right, Marvin Hunter, you up?
Okay, first of all, there's no new frontiers. The newest frontier is the internet. So everybody, you know, and you could back in the day before the internet came, you could speak from your perspective.
Thank you.
Now you can't really speak from your perspective because we all are linked in with the internet and everybody is exposed to everything. You do a joke in a club and that shit hit. Do you know somebody in that audience is making a meme as you fucking talking? And that meme is going out, and now other comics see that meme, and then they take it. Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna make a joke about that. So we are all over the place, man. There are absolutely joke thieves, but I just don't know if we should just put too much energy into it, man, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And now I can say this, and I stand on it. If you got a comic that does a lot of ad-libbing,
He gonna get in your neighborhood.
Is gonna be lifted.
Or a lot of hosting.
Because they coming off the dome and they thinking this something just popped in my head. No, you heard that somewhere.
Yeah, wow.
You know
Scooter Wilkerson, you had a floor, bro.
I think that personally, like what Marlon Mitchell said, it hurt. It hurt to have your jokes told from because you treat your jokes like your baby. And I done seen comics about the fight. And I personally made a big stance when I was like 5 years doing comedy. I was like, I'm never fighting nobody over no joke. I seen new comics take stuff, old comics take stuff, young comics take stuff, internet comics take stuff. It's just going to happen. So I try to make the joke so signature that people only want to hear it from me. So I know thieves exist. I don't care about it no more. And I know, like, sir, if I go to a market, I know something's going to stay there because I do current events and topics. So I know, like, so I'm like, I don't care no more. So I got certain things in your face that if you still, I'm gonna be mad.
Hold on,
they do it in your face.
I had one do it. I had one do it to me. I had one do it recently.
It's over, Scooter. It's over. Okay.
I had it happen.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I had it happen.
Coco Fresh, you had a joke lifted. It hurts, Coco. It hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. It does. And
Such
I think,
a good joke too.
Listening to JP and listening to how he talks about it and then how I feel about it, I think it's just more if you got people that's approaching this from a business perspective, and then you got people that's approaching this from a heart perspective, something that's genuine from the heart. And I think once you've turned this into a business, then I guess the shit doesn't bother you as much or it doesn't touch you as much. So I think that because that right there, that was my heart. Like my heart was broken to see that. Maybe I don't know if it's feminine energy or anything with that. But I don't know.
Now you may not have had access to her, but Marlon Mitchell, let me ask you this: what do? You know this nigga. He took your joke. Do you call him? Like I told David Arnold before he died, God rest his soul, had an issue with this young man Joe Hill. All right, I don't know Joe Hill, but I told David, I said, David, why are you making this nigga famous? Like, David wanted to blow him up on social media. I'm like, David, why would you do that? Just call the nigga, man.
Yeah.
Call the nigga.
Joe Hill took a joke of mine.
All right.
This joke is so signature that it, like Richard Pryor jokes.
Y'all just
you can't
y'all making him big.
All right, let me hear from Marlon Mitchell, man. Marlon, your thoughts?
Man, beat their ass. Fuck that. You got your joke. You go get your joke.
That's right, Marlon.
You go write your shit.
That's Chicago. That's Chicago.
I love it.
I love it. Fuck that. Beat that motherfucking ass.
That's right.
Stay out of my motherfucking jokes.
Thank you.
Marlon, you better not go to jail for no joke, Marlon. I ain't going to
hold on, ladies.
I'm going to jail, and I'm going to stand on my motherfucking joke.
I love it.
Hey, I'm not mad. I got a Chicago legend on the line as well. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jeff Brown. Jeff.
People.
Jeff Brown. Now, Marlon Mitchell, I have seen this with my own eyes. Jeff Brown in a karate stance outside a comedy club.
And Jeff is the coolest motherfucker in the world, man.
Jeff is the nicest guy in the world. But when you look at a comedy club, you see Jeff motherfucker standing there with his motherfucking, Jeff know the shit. Jeff motherfucker got his motherfucking karate chop up. God damn, it's about to be bad. Jeff Brown, joke
You
thievery,
are
man.
so ignorant, Ronnie.
Jeff, joke thievery, man. What do you stand?
Okay. Well, because I have buried the hatchet with this man publicly, his name has to remain nameless. He has
On
to.
SJ.
Now I'm not going
Arnez
to tell the
J's
story.
don't
Now I'm
want
not going to
that.
tell the story.
Tell a story.
No, I can't because
I was there. Tell a story. I'll just say parts of it that I remember.
Okay. Arnez, should you watch this? Please
And
know, brother, I hold
in
no
your defense, y'all
animosity.
did squash the whole thing,
The whole
which
thing.
is a good thing.
I will tell the whole story. Okay.
Thank you.
I am actually working on, and now I may make it a series. I was just working on it for myself. A show called You Tell Me, where unlike a lot of cats, during the comedy, or a lot of cats here, during the comedy boom of the 90s, there were cable shows everywhere that had comics on them. I swear to you, I did them all. You cannot come up with a comic strip live, evening at the Improv, comedy on the road, last comic stand, all of them I have been on with material that I wrote and I did first. That if you go back and watch Showtime at the Apollo, you can watch comics who shall remain unnamed because I'm producing this, that are super famous with a lot of money doing my jokes without my permission.
Wow.
So joke thievery is not. This is how I chose to handle it with Arnez J. Arnez J there's a joke, a signature joke of mine called the Opera from the Hood. That
you won the Barry Comedy Competition with that joke
and Star Search.
And Star
Freddie Ricks and Arnez J were running a train on that joke. They were
Who went first?
Who went first? It was the first person I saw was Arnez J because he did it in front of me at the Improv on Melrose.
Wow.
And so what I started,
did it hurt to as the comic that wrote it? Did it hurt you to see that? And you're like, wow,
it stung. But what I started doing is I started opening my shows, going, hey guys, I'm Jeff Brown. I also sell T-shirts. You can they're basically for comics, but you can buy one. It says, and but it works for comedians. It says on the front, I write for Arnez J. On the back, it says whether I like it or not.
Ooh.
And it started to get around.
Right.
So it culminated one night at the Comedy Store, because I wasn't a Comedy Store comic. I was an improv comic. It culminated one night, Fat Tuesday. I showed up because I heard Arnez J was telling people it was schoolyard. Yeah, you tell Jeff Brown I'm looking for him. Okay.
Jeff Brown ain't hard to find.
I'm not hard to find, brother, and I don't hide. So I came out. He was with Steve Wilson, who me and him are tight to this day.
Steve Wilson, great guy.
Great guy, funny dude. He was with.
Has a lot of dye in his beard.
Yes, plenty. If it starts raining, he's going to soil whatever he's wearing. I came backstage and he was sitting there. I said, "Hey, Arnez, what's up?" I shook his hand. I heard you wanted to speak to me. He said what y'all saying. Nothing. Okay, so I'm walking around. Somebody must have gassed him up because I came outside and he was standing there with Steve. And he said, "Yeah, Jeff Brown, I heard you was talking about me."
I was.
And I said, "Well, I was." Come on, you know me. Oh yeah, I was. And
Jeff, please speed the story up. Good.
Okay. Well, okay. I said, look, dude. Here's what I said about you. Arnez, you're the closest thing I've ever seen to Jerry Lewis on stage. That's the highest compliment I can pay you. However, that does not give you the license to take somebody else's joke and put a round off in it, and now it's yours. That's what you were doing. Well, if all I'm saying is if you keep talking about me, you ain't gonna never be talking about nobody. I said, "Oh wow. Well, allow me to retort." He said, "I don't know what that means." I said, "Well, That's because you're not as smart as me, but don't be hard on yourself. Not many people are. This. If we do this right here in front of the Comedy Store right now, there's a sheriff in the middle of the street. There's cops everywhere.
It's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be bad. It's gonna look bad on guys. It's gonna be broken up. However, I work out at the Hollywood Boxing Gym 2 days a week. You can pick whichever one of those days works for you. We can rent the ring and fight like a couple of fucking dogs if that's what you'd like to do. Or we can just get a wrestling mat and I understand you're a martial artist. We can do it that way. However you'd like to do it, just not tonight. He thought about that shit, walked away, and then there were some people, to hold me back. He went through the hold me back thing. So I had my people get in contact with his people. Hey, let's video this. Let's give the money to charity. Let's video us getting in shape. It was a show I wrote called Grudge, where one of us gets in shape like Futuristic. The other one gets in shape like Clubber Lang. And we video it. I was going to have Evan Lionel and Dan and Green help me get in shape.
I love it.
And we can give it to charity. His people declined. What
fast forward me here, Jeff. Yeah. How did y'all squash it, man? Because that happened many years later. Am I right? Many
years later, I got on. I do this show with Zoe Williams. I was on Zoe West show.
Yes.
I came on the show. I said, Arnez, bruh, if anything I said made you upset in any way, I'm sorry.
Which makes you the bigger man because he took your material.
Dude, he took my material, but you know what? There is a system in place that is trying to kill us as people right now. So we have bigger fucking fish to fry than who stole my fucking joke. Now, if you are really, if you really are that pissed about your jokes, copyright your material.
But you can't copyright stand-up material, can you?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
You absolutely can.
How do you do that? Let's give that information.
Okay. You take your set. You send it into the copyright office.
Verbatim.
No, the video.
Okay.
The video. Send it in with a date stamp on it.
Wow.
Anybody doing that joke after that date owes you money.
Oh, I'm done. Okay.
Man, I should have been getting money.
I'm about to go to YouTube and send all my stuff in.
B, here's the other way to handle it. If I were you, Brother Marlon, I would have a date stamp. Especially the bigger the comic, the more damaging this is.
Yeah.
Here's me on video at this time doing my joke. Here's this nigga. Make note of the date. This person is a joke thief. And I'll say this and shut the fuck up and get out of your way. This is what we are given as comedians. We have taken the license to get on stage and say exactly what is on our minds. When a joke thief steals your joke, what he is telling you is that he honors your thoughts over his. That my mind is not strong enough to take an L in this moment, and I would much rather lie than tell the truth in this moment that I don't have a joke. And you know what that equals? Mediocrity. You will never be great, with the exception of Robin Williams, who stole his first.
But say he will buy people's jokes. He's like, oh, I like that.
Oh, no.
That's fair.
Reality, what a concept. Is Robin Williams the name of his first special? He stole most of that material and that idea from a comedian by the name of Tim Thomerson, who also happened to be a Delta Force Green Beret and was looking to kill Robin Williams. And the people had to pay
Robin beat him to it and died on his own. Ladies and gentlemen. Rodney Perry, you tuned in to Rodney Perry Live. Yo, real quick, Coco Fresh, how do we stay in touch?
Follow me at Coco Fresh Comedy and Tarot on Instagram and The Fresh Tarot on TikTok.
Coco Fresh will be on the show to Friday, guys. Friday, yeah. And she will be doing live reads during
Coco Fresh is dope.
The ratchetest of Ratchet Tarot this Friday. And Marla Mitchell, I'm looking for trifling, but you can't You know a nigga named Trifling gonna steal your joke.
Dude, Trifling's driving Uber now. Why even?
Well,
When's the last time you seen him work anywhere?
Let's not Jeff Brown and say we did.
He got some stuff going on in LA. He hugged me and all that, but that still ain't shit.
He got stuff going on in LA now.
Marlon, how do we stay in touch, man?
You can reach me at Marlon MARLON Mitchell MITCHLELL on Instagram. Comedian Marlon Mitchell.
Love
and
it,
I'm gonna
man.
be at Riddles with you Friday.
Hey, we gonna have a drink, man, and hug each other's neck, man. You my favorite human being on the planet.
No shit.
Somebody called.
Trifling must have called you.
I'm back.
Trifling cut him off.
How you gonna claim my joke and then try to say Rodney stole it from you? You motherfucker.
Dirty bastard. Hey, Scooter Wilkinson, welcome to the show, man. How do we stay in touch, bro?
Y'all can follow me at Scooter Comedy or at Coach Scoot.
Thank you for coming on, bro.
Scooter got an airplane propeller.
Comedian Marvin H1, I believe. Marvin, how do we stay in touch?
Hey, get at your boy comedian Marvin H1 on Instagram. That's comedian Marvin H1 on Instagram, and just put in Marvin Hunter, man. Just Google it. I'm all over the place. Fuck with me.
Marvin Hunter. Thank you so much. JP Justice, man, one of my favorite human beings. He treated me nice when he didn't have to, and I'll never forget it. JP Justice, how do we stay in touch?
You can hit me all my social media is one name, JP Justice Last. JP Justice Last. I'm gonna come out with a translator so that when I say things, people can understand it, and you don't have to wait other people to say the same goddamn thing for people to understand what the fuck I said.
No, you said some wonderful things today. Thank you, JP. You're stellar. Understand me? Appreciate it. Uncle Jeff.
Yes.
You got shows. You got the whole thing. Talk to us, man. How do people stay in touch?
Okay. I'd be remiss if I did not say these two things. One, this is now proof that Marvin Hunter and Marlon Mitchell are not the same person.
Hilarious.
You have them in your head.
Hey, yo, I was saying to myself, yo, these dudes are like brothers.
These dudes,
hilarious
because they look alike. They're both extremely funny. You mix them in your head.
I didn't have my glass on. Now I got my glass.
Oh shit! You're fucking with me. Now it's Clark Kent Superman.
The whole show, I was sitting there going, "These guys look alike."
No, dude, do you know how many times I have heard Marlon and thought Marvin, and because they're both very funny. Anyway, Scooter Wilson has the disrespectful 3000 fan. That fan doesn't give a shit about any papers in your house. It doesn't give a shit. It's just blowing everything when you turn it on. Yes, today.
Jeff roasted people's background.
But it's with love. It's with love. Today at noon, LA time, I'm doing a show called Giraffe Balls on YouTube. It's where I get high as giraffe balls and talk to young bucks about whatever you want to talk about. I would love to have you gentlemen come on the show. Sunday, I do a show called The First Church of Holy Shit. This is where somebody fucked up and told me God was everywhere. So I pray from here, save me 10%, never miss a game. Another way to look at it is I save 10% on my soul insurance by switching to Don't Go. Let's talk about God for real.
Thank you, Jeff Brown. Always a pleasure. I'm going to open up the floor on Wednesdays to have these comedy conversations. I think it's very important, and at the very least, I don't know if we achieved anything, but we had some great conversations. We talked about cruise ship comics. We talked about internet comics. We talked about joke thievery, and among other things. Thank you guys for joining the floor. And next week we're gonna do all girls. I want to sit down.
Yeah, because we got bigger issues.
Yeah, y'all do.
We do.
I do. All right, guys. Hey, great show today. Thank you to each and every one of you guys. Until next time, my name is Rodney Perry. You're tuned in to Rodney Perry Live, and that.
Thank you, Mr. Perry.
No, thank you, brother. That is our show.
Thank you so much.
Let's go.
Get ready for America's #1 funny man. What? Hey. Make some noise. Ladies and gentlemen, from LA to New York, New York, Chicago to Mississippi. Let's give it up for America's #1 funny man, Rodney.